Hey, welcome to L Yoga. We're going to do a blended class today, of course, L-DOA and some yoga mixed in. I recommend that you have something to support your knees, like a towel or a mat. And also if you have it, get your L-DOA mat ready because we're going to use that at some point also. Okay, and I have my yoga blocks. Start in child's pose. Knees are wide, feet together. Extend those arms forward, stretching through your fingertips. If it's uncomfortable to sit back on your knees at this point, just lift your hips. That's puppy dog pose. That's a good one too. And if your forehead doesn't quite touch the floor, support your head with a block. And start to take some full, deep diaphragmatic breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Feel the expansion of your rib cage, your back. Even your abdominal wall expands outward. Spread your fingers. Drop your belly, look forward into cow position. And round it out into cat. Moving with breath. Inhale is your back bend. And exhale, really tuck that tail. Finding flexion in your lower spine. Two more. Find flat back, widen your knees. Shift your hips from side to side. Just warming up those hip joints. And let's make some circles with the hips. And reverse that direction. Take that right arm up, look up at your fingertips, open your chest, and thread the needle. Press the back of your hand into the floor. Your overhead arm, bring your hand just in front of your forehead and lift your elbow. Breathe deeply into your twist. Never force a twist. Press up, open your chest one more time. And we'll take it over to the other side. As I lift my left arm, I'm taking my hips over to the left. And thread the needle. Push your top elbow away from your tailbone. Let's unwind that. One more big chest stretch here. And I'll meet you kneeling. Extend one leg out either way. Take your arm in line parallel with your leg, externally rotated with an open hand, Eldoa hand. Take that top arm just rested on top of your head. As you reach down towards your foot, lift your elbow. No pressure on the head. Finally, tuck that tailbone. You're still working axial elongation. Grow through the crown of your head. Take some deep breaths into your side, opening up those ribs with your inhale. Take both hands to the mat and just sit back. Hopefully you get a nice little stretch for the inner thigh. Press back up to kneeling, same side, but open the knee. So toes are pointing away from your knee. You should have alignment heel to knee. So instead of doing the stretch like we normally do, this is going to be the Eldoa for the front of the hip. We're going to jump right into it. So really open the distance between your hip and your knee. Tuck your tail so the lumbars are nice and flat. And this is a subtle thing. Drop the ball of the femur head downward. So I call this dropping the ball. You're going to sink the thigh bone heavy into the socket, and then it's a subtle reach of the thigh bone away. You can get that also by taking the heel that's on the floor and just gently pulling the heel towards the opposite knee. You're looking for a traction in the front of the hip. Extend both arms forward. Nice open hands. Careful you have not leaned back. The arm that goes up is the side of the down knee. Just like every Eldoa, push up through one shoulder, reach forward through the other, and breathe. As you breathe, continue to find space, elongation. Encourage that knee to open towards the wall behind you. Let's go 15 seconds more. Try to relax your glutes, relax your butt just a little bit. It's going to help you find more space in the hip. Give those arms an extra reach. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, and release your arms. We'll do all of that on the other side. So start with your opposite leg out. The toes are forward, the foot is flat. Arm is parallel to your leg, hand on top of your head. Once we've got the pelvis fixed in a posterior tilt, lift that elbow and reach through the shoulder, decoap the shoulder. Find distance between the top elbow and your tailbone. All right, we want to get taller here rather than scrunching the spine downward. Good. Drive that elbow up. One more breath here. And second exercise, Eldoa of the hip. Right? So we do here want to open the hips a little like a book. So you're taking the distance between your hip bone and your knee and increasing that distance, right? Encourage the knee to open. Bonus points if you can find your 3 points through the foot. Big posterior pelvic tilt. I'll talk you through this one more time. We're going to drop the ball of the hip as if I was stretching your thigh bone away from your hip joint. We decoap the hip. Extend those arms forward, open your hands. Opposite arm goes up, and we work. This is an Eldoa, not a stretch, so we need to work towards maximum effort here. Shift weight onto the pinky toe side of your foot to help you open your knee. No rotation here. We want that arm driving straight up. Chin is in. Crown of the head reaches up. And breathe. Deep diaphragmatic breathing. Final 10 seconds of work. I can't talk today. Go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release your arms. Hardest transition of the day. Stand up. Shake out your legs. I'll meet you in voyeur stance. Toes are rotated in. Thighs are internally rotated. Bend your knees. Straighten your knees. We'll do that a few times. Push your knees forward. Push your knees back. If your hands are on your hips, you can feel your sacroiliac joints with your thumbs. Right? You're not pressing, you're just kind of listening with your thumbs. Sometimes you can feel that, okay, one side moves a lot, one side not so much. Bend your knees, stay that way. Posterior tilt, anterior tilt. We don't gain or lose any height with this one. It's as if your head was just pressing right upward into a ceiling. And we mobilize the low back. We really work into flexion and extension of the lumbar spine. Imagine you're balancing an apple on the top of your head. Here's 3, 2, and I'll just ask you to manage that posterior tilt for the rest of this exercise. Put one hand on your hip, the other arm extends out, hand is higher than the shoulder. Translate to one side and back to center. There's no movement from the waist down. We pick up the rib cage and take it all the way over and bring it back. Imagine you're sliding your belly button over to one side and bring it back. Okay, we're going to take this into a different angle. You still have a tucked under pelvis. Weight is even in your legs. We're just going to rotate the chest, so now the arm is about 15 degrees forward of the hips, and we move the rib cage in the direction of the arm. Think front corner. And you have to visualize your pelvis, lower body staying still, and your entire rib cage moving in that direction. Last 2. And 1. Same thing, other side, posterior tilt, translate. Good, don't hold back. Really reach through the arm. Move in as big a range as your body is ready for. And here's that rotation. I'm going to turn my breastbone and my rib cage and reach. I've got to touch. I've got to make sure my pelvis doesn't move as I drive my rib cage over the front hip. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Stand up. Give it a little shake. Come to the front of your mat. Grab your blocks if you're using blocks for yoga today. Feet can be hip distance apart or closer. Just make sure the second toes are pointing forward. Find a nice standing gravity line, even weight bearing through your entire foot. Take those arms all the way up. Your eyes can follow the hands up. And fold it over. Ragdoll. We'll be here for a couple breaths. Now is a good time to come into the yoga breathing, Ujjayi breathing, in through the nose and out through the nose. Release your head. Place your hands on shins or blocks. Come up for a flat back. Okay, hold this for a moment. We want the chest going forward, the spine lengthening, the belly zipped up. You're stretching your spine forward. And let's fold it over now with more length. Place your hands on your blocks or the floor. Step back into your plank. Reconnect with your breathing. Energetically push the floor away from you. Press back, first downward facing dog. Pedal your feet. Stretch the tops of your feet. These are all optional. Everyone has their own process. Whatever you need to do to loosen up, wake up the legs. Maybe move your hips side to side. And then find stillness. Keep a generous bend in your knees. The focus is on lengthening the tailbone backwards. Step or hop feet to hands, ragdoll. Bend your knees, look up, reverse swan dive. You come up with a flat back and bring those hands to heart center. Sun salutation A. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, plank. Tap your knees down. Shift your shoulders forward. Elbows backwards. Bend your elbows, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Knees up or down. I keep my knees down for a couple. Downward facing dog. Find your breath. Step your right foot forward. Runner's lunge. Tap your knee down, low lunge. I'm forward of my kneecap. Rise up. Optional to have hands to blocks. Really reach your arms up strongly, but settle your shoulders in. Just settle them down. This is different from the Eldoa arms. Eldoa arms, our scapula are lifted here. They're relaxed. Bring those hands to heart center and twist Taking elbow to the outside of the knee. Never force a twist. Be gentle with yourself. It will come. Rise up. Hands to the mat or blocks. Shift back. Here's your half split. Pop your toes up and send your sit bone backwards. Really lift your chest, lengthen your spine here. Come back into your low lunge. Plant your hands, lift your knee. Find plank. Take your flow. Knees can be up or down. As always, you modify for how you feel today and your level. We're a little bit different every day. Reminder here to externally rotate your shoulders, give your neck some freedom. Other side, step your left foot through. Runner's lunge. Low lunge. Bring it up. This is a back bend because we lift the heart upward, not necessarily backwards, right? Just continue to lift the sternum. Draw the lower belly in. Energetically push away from the floor. Pull those hands to heart center, twist first. Elbow to knee. Imagine you're pulling the bottom shoulder through. Rise up, low lunge. Plant your hands. Take your flow. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Building a little heat. Step feet to hands. I'm removing my blocks. Feel free to keep yours. Hang in your ragdoll. This time, grab opposite elbows. Release your arms. Bend your knees. Reverse swan dive all the way up to standing. Hands to heart center. We're passing through chair. Make sure your toes are pointing forward. Feet are directly underneath your hips. Inhale up. Exhale into chair. Just pause in chair. The movement stops, but the breath continues. Hatha yoga. Hatha is where we hold poses. As always, it's fine to allow the knees to go forward slightly so that our weight really goes downward. Right? We don't want to be parallel to the floor. That's hard on the back. Bring your hands to heart center. We'll repeat that twist. Rotate first. You can hook your elbow. That works. I'm just going to open my arms. Either way, look down at your knees. If your knees have gone way off, bring them back into alignment. Our twist is coming from the upper back, not the lower back. Okay, I know you're in those legs. Keep the hips lower than the heart. Beautiful. Take it back. You've got this. Rotate first. Other side. Breathe. Your Eldoa today is going to feel like a piece of cake here in a little while. Do you believe me? Come back to center, rise all the way up. Let's take a big swan dive, fold it over. Let your head drop. Lift halfway, flat back. Plant your hands, step it back. You could always hop it back. Take your flow. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Shoulders are broad, shake your head. Walk your feet together. Lift your right leg, three-leg dog. All of your toes are pointing in the same direction. Shift it forward into plank and pull your knee to your nose. Round your spine. Step your foot through. Rise up, high crescent. So the back foot, I'm on the ball of my foot. All my toes are aiming in the same direction. Big cactus arms, open your chest. Lower your knee to a hover. Come back into your crescent. Extend forward, flat back. Really pull your hip backwards. Plant your hand and open up for a twist. Make your neck comfortable. You can look down at your hand. You can look up at your top hand. Either way, it works. Bring both hands to the mat. Step it back into plank. Take your flow. Meet in downward facing dog. If down dog is ever not a rest position, you are free to take child's pose at any time you like. Manage your breathing. Calm your thoughts. Feet together. Lift the left leg, three-legged dog. Really reach back through that left heel. Pull it forward, knee to nose. Round your spine. Using the strength of your abs, pull your foot through. High crescent. If your balance is off, you know you need a wider stance. Good. Soften your neck. Cactus arms. Lower that back knee to a hover. Careful on that alignment, front knee directly over the middle of the foot. Good, now can you stay low in that front knee and just straighten the back leg? Hinge it forward. Make that front thigh do a little work. Hand to the mat, open twist. As you twist, squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. One more breath. Step it back. Take it through your flow. Meet in downward facing dog. Travel to the front of your mat. Ragdoll. Reverse swan dive up to standing. And hands to heart center. Let's do one standing balancing series. And it is okay to stand near a wall and do all of these things, but there's only one way to build balance, right? And we got to work on it. So look down at your feet. We're very good from knowing the Eldoa, knowing how to distribute the body weight evenly, so use that to your advantage here. Soften your knees. Reach those arms out. We're going to take the left elbow under the right and just clasp however you can. If that is a no-go for you, you can just grab the backs of your shoulders. The important thing is that you're getting a good stretch in your upper back. Okay, so if the left elbow is under, we're going to lift the left knee and cross at the thighs. There you go. Good. This one, keep your spine straight as if you're sliding straight down a wall. And squeeze your thighs together. Find a focus, one focal point. You can wrap the toes all the way behind the other leg. My hips are not ready for that. Let's unwind out of this. Lift that left knee. Set it down and release your arms. All right, eagle on the other side. Extend those arms. This time right underneath the left. Right over the left. And again, you can use that opposite foot like a little kickstand, or if you have the full wrap, more power to you. All of our bodies are different. We're all in different places. Put some weight on that standing heel, and maybe you can sit a little lower. Breathe into that upper back. And stay for one more breath. Let's unwind. That's half the fun. Plant your foot and release your arms. Here's our tree. Shift your weight into the right leg. You can start with a low tree on your shin, a high tree, but no knee trees. Don't put your foot on your knee. Just like the hip Eldoa, we're encouraging space between knee and opposite hip, like opening a book for this particular posture. That's the thought. If you'd like to grow your branches, great. If you'd like to work your balance, close your eyes. Bring it back down and other side. Feel your foundation here. So don't feel the need to really come all the way up into a really big expressive pose. If your toe is on the floor like a kickstand and you're working your balance, you're in a great spot. Foundation is your standing foot. We need weight on all three corners, all 3 points of the foot, base of the big toe, outer arch, inner heel. Good, take it up. Here's our shin tree or full tree. If you fall out, Keep a good sense of humor, come right back in. I'm going to grow my branches a different way. I'm turning my palms upward towards the ceiling. And breathe. Trees sway a little bit. You are not expected to be perfectly still. Beautiful. Stay for one more big inhale. Big exhale. All right. Now's your time for your Eldoa mat. Be close to the front of the mat for your good mornings. We might do a few roll downs. Make sure you have a little space behind you. Grab your shins and come into a seated gravity line. So shoulders directly on top of pelvis, chin is slightly in. So here, we're using the elbows to help us keep our height, and the abs are relaxed. Okay, transition out of working your abs. Let that belly just go. Your breath should be easy. Take your head forward and back a couple times. We're isolating the movement to the cervical spine. Don't let your pelvis fall. We're just moving the head. And once you find that chin in, neck long position, you're going to keep that. Take yourself back with a straight spine, about 15 degrees. These are your good mornings. Move your pelvis back into flexion, forward into extension. Right? Forward into extension means that you do a little back bend at the low back. There's two parts to it. It's rounding and arching. Keep your head and shoulders relatively still in space. Arms are here to help you. Okay, really plant your feet into the mat. It's fine to have your knees slightly open. That does help the pelvis move. Taking this a step further, come up to the top of your range. We're still leaned back, chin is still parallel to the floor, arms forward, externally rotated. We'll roll all the way down to the shoulder blades and the back of the head, and roll all the way back up. Remember where up is. Remember where the top of your position is. Roll it all the way down, one smooth motion, and roll it up. If this is not in your range of ability, roll halfway back and all the way up, right? Just work the top of your range. Eventually, the full range will come. Breathe. Keep your head moving with your chest. Do not allow the chin to get out in front of you for leverage. Ask yourself if you're really breathing as you roll up. It's actually hard to do. Exhale as you lift. Same time. Good. We're going for 20. Once you've got the movement, once it begins to feel smooth, then you work for pace. Then you work to make it a little quicker. But no hurry. We're going for form. Last 5. Really strengthen your arms. Push through your hands. Last two. We're going to end seated, so make your way all the way up and open your knees 90 degrees. It's our classic L4, L5 posture focused on the lower back. Heels are 2 fist distance apart. As always, your arms are helping you to find your tallest, best gravity line. That's where your body is the most efficient against gravity. Flex your feet. Angle those arches towards the floor. And open your knees towards the floor. It's a muscular action to open the knees towards the floor. Arms forward. Externally rotate. Push the shoulder blades forward. Feel the scapula move. Bring those arms up. We are on the clock. I have a clock right in front of me. Guys, don't trust me. Right? If you are in a really good posture, even if you're not, Eldoa is 1 minute at maximum effort. That means if your shoulders can lift any more, don't hold back. Push them up. Open your hands nice and big. Push the knees to the floor. Use the strength of your upper body to lift out of your low back. I'll give y'all a secret. I just recently started feeling this one exactly where I'm supposed to at L4, L5. And I don't know if it's that the understanding of it grew for me or I have an injury there and I just got a little better. Final 10 seconds. Knees open, lift up through the shoulders, up. This is work. This should be work. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 arm down at a time. Keep the spine. Relax your legs. You don't even need your legs to keep the spine. And then finally, relax the spine just a little bit. Okay. Open both legs into your wide split. I know this is a tough one. That's why we do it. Your arms are there not for a TV watching position, but to help you sit a little bit taller. Internally and externally rotate the legs. And I'll give you a secret for this one as well. If you don't have any internal rotation, your legs are too wide for your ability. It just is, right? Find that place where your legs are wide, but you feel the hip joint moving. You feel the femur head just gliding back and forth inside of the hip socket. All right, you're warm. We've got this. Push down through the pelvis. Find your spine. Flex your feet. Knees down. Find that little extra reach through your legs, decoapting the hip. We open the hips at the beginning for this purpose. Turn the bottoms of your feet forward. Internally rotate at the hip joint. Right? You can think of it a couple ways. You're going to push the middle border of your knee to the floor. You're also going to push the heels out. Arms forward. Right? That's where a mirror is helpful. It's very easy to lean forward on this one. It's a cheat. I want you in your gravity line, shoulders directly over your hips. Here we go. Extend those arms up and we work. Give me some chin in here. We want to keep the cervical spine. Get your hands as much over your shoulders as you can within your ability. Open up those toes. Open your toes. Now internally rotate your legs. We need 50-50 work. The legs are working. The arms are working. L3 behind your belly button. That's where you want to meditate on. That's where you want to feel this. We're halfway there, guys. I'm right here with you. Shaking is a good thing. Internally rotate those knees. Lift up out of your pelvis. Imagine the backs of your ribs lifting away from the back of your pelvis. Nice. Now breathe. Final 10 seconds here. You're doing awesome. Internally rotate those knees. Come on, you have to. Lift, lift, lift. Hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep the arms relaxed. Only one leg. Now only one arm. Now only the other leg. And the other arm. Very nice. Give those legs a little flush. One more Eldoa. This is T6. Sit with your legs crossed. Give them some help if you need. Good. If this is not an easy position for you, flex your feet, right? And technically, anytime in the Eldoa the knee is bent, the foot is in eversion, right? So this is one of those things you have a couple of options. I'm going to relax my feet. Right? Feel the evenness of your pelvis. Right? Both sit bones evenly into the mat. Bring your fingertips together, hands at your chest. Drive your elbows downward. Your shoulder blades will go downward with your elbows. Pull your chin and C6 slightly backwards. That's the base of your neck. And look for space between the elbow tips and your ears going upward. I want you to keep as much space and length in your neck as you can throughout this exercise. Feel your rib cage. Do you have those ribs kind of popped open to the front, right? Or are you rounded? Find the place where your sternum is lifted and your ribs are just a little bit in. Right? Recorrect that chin head position if you need. Now, keeping the shoulders down away from your ears, begin to move your arms. I have not lifted my shoulders yet. I'm looking for the place where my arms can be somewhat over my head, but my chin stays in. Right? I personally do not get very far in this one. I struggle with this one. Push down through your pelvis, grow through the top of your head. Work to get those elbows a little more open towards the back wall. Work to pull your head back. Your head will want to come forward where your hands are. We've got to make the hands go back. Okay, I'm arriving at the place where I just cannot go any further. Now I straighten my arms, and with it, I lift my scapula, lift the shoulder blades. And hopefully you still feel that length in your neck, in your cervical spine. And from that place, begin to lift the shoulder blades. Maximum effort, meaning 100% effort work here. It's not that you won't feel work in your neck or tightness in your neck. It's just not the point of the exercise. Reach up, straighten your elbows. If you can touch your palms together, wonderful. Right, you've tightened your shoulders, just open your hands, grow the arms upward and then touch together. I know Hunter does that all the time. It's a good technique. Manage where your ribs are. Right, Hunter, you will need to drop the breastbone and pull your head back. You're like me. And then the arms have to catch up. Lena, for you, I'm always saying just lift your sternum, lift your breastbone, up, 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 up. Breathe. We should be working near or at 100% here. Rounding out final 15 seconds, push down with the lower body and lift the rib cage away from the hips. Now lift your shoulder blades. More. You've got it. Hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Descend your arms. Roll your shoulders out. Come into whatever seated position works for you, where you don't have to work too hard to sit up. So maybe it's this L4, L5 position, relax legs. And if you're really tight in your hips, just sit on a block here. Okay, any seated position is good. I just don't want you struggling. This is GPS. Extend those arms forward, palms up. We'll pull one elbow back. Remember, the elbow's higher than the shoulder, and it's like drawing a bow. The tip of the elbow moves away from the heel of the hand. Your head position is just like the last exercise. Head stays forward, no rotation in the head. Take it over to the other side. So the shoulder girdle, the sternum can rotate, the head cannot. And switch. Just moving nice and slow here. And switch. And switch. Good gravity line. You have good awareness of your gravity line, where your head should be over your shoulders. One more each side. And release. Let's do one myofascial stretch for the hips. Come to kneeling. We just did quite a bit of hip work. I'm going to show you a modification just having the blocks in front of me. Let's take that right foot forward. Nice posterior pelvic tilt. If balance is an issue, walk your foot out to the side just a little bit wider, but the pelvis hasn't changed. Elbow to knee. Very important, L3 moves backwards. You should feel L3 quite a bit now. We've done L2, L3, L-DOA. It's fine to bend the front knee more to stretch. What we don't want to do is let the back cave. Pull your belly button backwards. Optional to extend your arm forward. We're pulling on the hip flexor through tension through the lat. Couple bonus points. Your heel goes to the side, right, away from the front leg. And if you'd like to add a little lateral side bend, that should be nice and juicy. And we still, axial elongation, we're tall. The spine is long and lifted. And release. Change sides. I didn't even show you the modification with the blocks. You can put your hands on the blocks. L-DOA is cooking my brain, or the heat's cooking my brain. Big posterior pelvic tilt. Elbow to knee. Here's your modification. If you need help, there it is. The floor is closer to you. Send your belly button backwards. Good. Adding that arm. Personally, I have to scoot forward a little bit to be forward of my kneecap. And a little side bend coming directly from the low back, the lumbar spine. That's where the side bend comes from, not just your shoulders. Couple more deep breaths. And release. You could certainly repeat that a couple times if you need to. But let's go on our backs. Lie down on your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Grab the soles of your feet for happy baby. Rock side to side. My little trick, if I'm rocking to the left, I'm straightening the right leg, kind of like a stag stretch on the reformer. Continue to work your tailbone towards the floor. Lengthen your spine. And take it over to the other side if you're going with this option. Or just stay in happy baby and enjoy. Hug your knees to your chest. Bring the soles of your feet together. Open your knees, recline butterfly. You can push down on that little shelf at the top of your legs, just tractioning your low back here. We're moving towards our final resting position, so ease up on your effort. Let your body melt into the mat. I'm going to do Shavasana with you today, so it will be timed, and then I'll get up and we'll finish the practice. Either stay in reclined butterfly or close the knees. Straighten your legs to the corners of your mat. Of course, if you like to put blocks under your knees as a prop, make yourself comfortable. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Close your eyes. Soften your jaw. Let all of your muscles, all of your being fall heavy into the floor. We'll be here for 3 minutes. Deepen your breath. Come back into the room, wiggling fingers and toes. Roll over onto your right side. Press up to a seated position. Maggie's halfway off her bed and dreaming. I don't know if you can see her. Let's take 3 final deep breaths to close this practice together. Big inhale takes you up. Exhale, press down through the palms of your hands. Big inhale. And exhale. Last time. Bring your hands together. Come down to heart center. I am so grateful for you. Namaste.